Hey, Homebodies, Ashley here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a quick moment to share with you a new company that I have joined, and I am super excited to share more about it with you. KINS is Physical Therapy Reimagined. It is an all inclusive physical therapy app designed for convenience. Through the KINS app or their website, kins.com, you can check your insurance eligibility. Yes, KINS is in network with most major insurance companies. And you can enter a bit about the problem that you're currently experiencing and then get matched with an expert physical therapy provider. You can even book your first appointment online. Your appointments can be done 100% virtually from the comfort of your own home and will include one-on-one video appointments with a physical therapist and access to a personalized library of exercises, in addition to in-app messaging where you can ask your physical therapist questions at any time. If you aren't familiar with me and my background, I am a physical therapist with over 10 years of experience and specialize in geriatrics, chronic pain, and pelvic health. KINS Virtual Care is especially designed for those experiencing pelvic health concerns, including pregnancy-related pain, birth prep, postpartum care, bowel and bladder issues, pelvic pain, and many more. And if you're wondering if virtual pelvic health physical therapy can actually help, the answer is yes. Recent research has shown that virtual care for pelvic health can be just as effective as in-person care for a variety of conditions. And if you end up needing a referral for an in-person provider, we are happy to help you out with that. If you live anywhere in Massachusetts, you can ask for me, Ashley Drake, and a KINS representative will set you up with an initial visit where we will do a deep dive into your story, your medical background, and then we will come up with a treatment plan that works for you. Hope to see you there. Now on to the episode. Welcome to Haunted Homebodies, where Halloween isn't just a day, it's a lifestyle. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Sara, and we're your guides through the delightfully dark corners of comfort horror.
Grab your typewriter and your tweed blazer.
It's time to visit the murder capital of Maine.
So we're drinking tea because I told you it's a requirement, because Jessica Fletcher, among many other qualities, is a big tea gal.
Which I love that I have that in common with her.
You are a big tea gal. I thought I didn't like tea for a long time, and then I realized that I just did not know how to prepare it in a way that was appealing to me, much like coffee.
For listeners out there, if there are those of you who are still putting a tea bag in boiling water and leaving it there the entire time you are drinking your tea, you're doing it wrong.
Okay, so I should take notes. It's not, my tea bag's not still in there, for the record. Just when the bag is just like slapping around in there and like coming flying at you.
Also that.
That's probably the only reason why I take it out. But, yeah, okay, well.
You didn't know I was so spiritually aligned with Jessica Fletcher.
Yeah. I just like was taken to school on tea drinking.
I mean, she's in her 60s. I don't know why you would have thought that I was not 100% aligned with her.
Because you haven't watched the show.
That's fair.
Yeah. Which also, I mean, I didn't watch this show until maybe I started watching it a year ago when I was pregnant, and I was like, I just need something really cozy, and I love watching things about writers, so I Googled shows with writers in it, and this one came up, and I was like, that one's for grandmas, and then I was like, wait a second.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm like on the couch, with my warm drink and my slippers, probably a freaking bathrobe on, and I'm like, why haven't I watched this? And then I watched it, and within the first 10 minutes of the pilot, I was like, this is my new favorite show, and I've been watching it ever since.
Was it just the opening credits that got you?
It would be enough. Well, tell me, what I want to know just off the bat are your thoughts. I'm a little scared because I love this show.
First of all, Jessica Fletcher is a fitness and fashion icon.
1,000%.
number of jogging scenes in the
Yeah.
opening credits
Yeah.
cracks me up. She
Not
is a
walking,
not
jogging.
walking, jogging, which has nothing to do with the show.
Nothing.
She's just an active 60 something year
Hmm.
old. Uh love the outfits. They're like very fashionable grandma. They're not super grandma.
No.
And she can get dressed up. In the pilot, she dresses like fairy godmother,
Yes. Yeah.
and
For the
that's
Hollow or the
super
costume
cute.
party.
It's
Yeah.
got like a little waist and everything. She looks
Oh, yeah.
great. Fitness and fashion icon. Love her. Obviously connect with her in many ways because
Right.
I am spiritually in my 60s and
Yes. If not older.
yes.
Yes. Physically, I'm like 90. Spiritually, I'm probably like, I don't know, 1,000. I'm like Legolas or something. Freaking in my 2000s. Anyway, Jessica is jogging a tremendous amount. It's very bizarre, and that does stop relatively
In
quickly.
like a wind jacket, like a
Yes,
wind
with
suit. Is
the
that what we used to
towel
call
tucked
those?
in.
With the towel, yeah.
Yes, yes. Windbreaker.
Windbreaker, thank you.
Yes,
Like a
yes.
full windbreaker suit.
I feel like she does jog maybe a few more times, but the jogging montages do become a lot less relevant as the show goes on. I will
Yes.
say that, which I mean, kind of sad about. Like you said, it has nothing to do with the show. I'm guessing they were just trying to establish, like you said, that she's active. She's
Yeah.
not like your average older woman. She's out and about. She's
Hmm.
exercising. She's very energetic,
Exactly, exactly. And
But
I also had to remind myself that opening credit scenes were a lot different back in the 80s.
yeah. And I have to say, I love it. It is one of the shows that I almost never skip. Like, you can skip the intro when you're
Yeah.
streaming. There's just the song, the vibes. It's just it's really bringing the vibe of the show, which is just like cozy grandma mystery.
It's spot on.
It's great. It's great.
Yes.
Okay, so we've established that I love the show, one of my favorites. You
Yes.
have recently watched the show, and thus
Yes.
far we know that you love Jessica Fletcher and or are Jessica Fletcher
You
in
may
many ways.
I mean, my life would be a lot more interesting if I was constantly solving murders.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
otherwise, we're like pretty much the same person.
Yeah, she's a lot more of a busybody than most humans on Earth. One thing I will say about this show, there are so many episodes.
Yeah.
I say that this is one of my favorite shows, and I mean it. But I have not seen every episode of the show yet. There
Gonna
are
take a while.
264 episodes. That is so many episodes. I think there are, I want to say 12 seasons. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but they're like 20 to 22 episode, like 45-minute-ish episodes.
Hmm.
And it's a show that I find great comfort in because it is in many ways like a procedural. So each episode is a very standalone story.
Yeah.
But in that same sense, it's not super bingeable. So it's not a show where I'm like, I just have to
Mm.
watch it through to the end of the season. Like this
Hmm.
is just what I'm
Hmm.
doing
Yep.
now today, which I think is great. In the era of life that I'm in, I just like do not have the same opportunity to be able to binge watch like I would like to. So this is
Right.
perfect. I mean, Angela Lansbury is just amazing, and she does just like carry this show for years and years. But to be able to have these procedural type episodes and to get you invested in a different cast of characters almost every time is super impressive.
Absolutely. And one of the things I appreciate about it, so I think we have discussed, not on the pod, that you're not usually a procedurals person, but I love procedurals. Like
Uh-oh.
the more ridiculous, the better. I love Law and Order SVU. I watch Law and Order Organized Crime now, which is it's not good. It's not a good show. I watch every episode. Like, I love a good procedural.
Yeah.
And some of them, I think, take themselves very seriously. And this show does not do that. And I really appreciate it. Like, you get invested in the characters, but they're not, they're like, yeah, this is
Super
a little
deep.
silly, and
For
that's
sure.
what we are.
They're quirky. They're very quirky. They don't have
Yes.
a lot of depth, and there's always this sense at the beginning of like which one of you is gonna die. Like, don't
Yeah.
get too
Well,
attached
and
to any
that's
of them.
really what makes me think about it, like not taking themselves too seriously, because at no point is she like, another murder. It's just
Never
like,
once in
sure.
the entire show.
Yeah.
Imagine going on a trip, say every week, and everywhere you go, someone gets murdered.
Yeah.
Sometimes too, it'll be like there's a few core characters who come up in several of the episodes, and so you get to know Doc Hazlitt, the doctor in town, Amos Tupper, he's the sheriff for a while. So you have these repeating characters. And sometimes there was one where Dr. Hazlitt's brother dies, and you're just like, he's like, oh, I'm sad. And then they just like move on because it can't be the show where you're just
Yeah.
depressed and wallowing and so upset because it's a cozy mystery. So they really lean into the cozy part, and they're just like, like murder is not murder in this show. It is just like, it's like everything is a game of like, going to a murder mystery dinner to be solved.
It's so true. So I was really surprised in the pilot episode where you don't see it at all, but they talk
No.
about the fact that someone was they could not identify a body because the face was like clear blown off. And I was like, that is not matching the vibe that is
Nope.
happening right
I'm not sure
now.
why they did that detail. Also, they show, a person face down in the pool, not a drop of blood.
Not,
Not one.
not a
Um,
drop.
but yeah, that there is a few moments that I can think of similar to that where you're like, that was unnecessarily gruesome detail, where you just kind of have to let it like wash over you because you're just like murder schmurder. No
Yeah.
big deal.
But, well, okay, so that's the other thing about this show. This show exemplifies what I view as kind of a current obsession with like true crime and not so true crime, procedurals, things like that, where you have to have this cognitive dissonance of, I'm enjoying this, this feels safe to me, even though we're talking about literal murder.
Yeah. The
And that's
worst
all the
case
show
scenario.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is strange to describe to people because we are already strange in the way that we have a podcast that is trying to say that in general, horror can be cozy or comforting.
Yeah.
Some of the movies
Hmm.
are, I would say, are fairly obvious in their cozy and comfort aspects. Many of them are not. This show is one that is like very obvious in it being cozy and comforting and nostalgic, but it is a show where someone gets murdered every single episode. And it's just such a like not I don't know. It's like I mean I guess we've just already said it, right? It's like not it makes it seem so not real and so non-threatening and most of the time they are. It's not like um, you know, Amos is getting murdered or some like a character that you're
No.
attached to or anyone that you
Hmm.
haven't met 5 minutes prior, you know. Sometimes they'll wait a little bit before killing off one of the characters, but it's never someone that you're like really attached to or
Right.
you're just kind of like,
Right.
okay, it's about Jessica and about her getting involved. She can never let it
Sticking
go.
sticking her nose
She
in.
can never just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go home. And there are episodes where they establish some sort of connection, right? She's friends with everybody. She has so many nieces and nephews, even though she doesn't have any children. But she has this enormous network, and so sometimes they'll be accused of the murder, so she's invested
Hmm.
because she has to help basically absolve them of, being accused of this crime. Because of course they they didn't do it. Um, but many episodes don't. She just is like, no, I need to know. I need to see this through. A bad thing happened, and like, I must seek justice. I must seek the answer, and here I go. And she does it every time. I don't know because I haven't seen all the episodes if there is one where she does not crack the case, but I don't know, I've got to be closing in on 200 or more, and she has cracked the case every time.
Do you think that at any point they regretted the name of the show and they were like, man, I wish it just didn't have murder in the title and she could solve some other type of crime just once?
Yeah, that's true. Like petty larceny or
Yeah.
a jewel thief.
Kidnapping.
Murder, She Wrote is such a good title, though.
It is. So it's an
so
excellent,
good.
timeless
So
title.
And it doesn't matter because either way, it's so detached from reality on so many levels. You know, it's not a fantasy show. It doesn't have any fantastical elements that are like, oh, this is so hard to believe, or this is so campy, or this is so far-fetched. But at the same time, it defies all logic and statistics and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you say there's no fantasy element, but one of the episodes we're going to talk about today, she gets involved in a murder because the phone lines get switched, and so the only woman in town who cares about all the murders happens to hear that they're going to murder someone. So like a little bit of fantasy.
No, no, you're agreeing with me in saying that the show is completely detached from reality. What I'm saying is there aren't unicorns or magic or
it's true.
Ghosts, you know, things
It's
that
true.
are like, oh, this is not.
Yeah. All right.
Real. It is just
Yeah.
like everything's a coincidence and everything is connected to her, which is why many fans feel that she is a serial killer. And that is the only logical explanation for this show.
And she like gets the most enjoyment from it by telling other people and then solving it. Yeah, I buy it.
Right? Like, it is sociopathy to the nth degree. Like, she is creating these scenarios and then the perfect frame job every episode.
I'm in. I'm
Right?
in on this
I
theory.
kind of am
All
too.
in.
It's both like the best and the worst theory to me.
I hope
in the
that's
world.
what the series finale turns out to be. Keep me updated.
It's not, but I already know that. Let's talk a little bit about more like what she is, what we know that she is. She's a writer. She's
Mhm.
writing, talking about writing. She seems quite prolific. I LOL frequently during the show when people are like, "You're JB Fletcher, the mystery writer." Like, she has the amount of fame like Stephen King. Everybody knows what she looks like. They know that she's JB. They know that her first name's Jessica. Like, they know that she lives in Cabot Cove, Maine. Oh, the mystery writer from Cabot Cove, Maine.
Wait. And also, in the pilot episode, it is established that she has just published her first book.
Yes.
And then in the same season, 20 episodes later, she has published many books
Yes.
somehow.
And she's not my mind just went completely blank. But yeah, that episode where one of the characters is like fangirling over her, being like, it's, you know, like that, like what I was just saying, she's the famous mystery writer. And I was like, that's the first time that happens in the show. Like, she is the definition of an overnight success and is extremely prolific. So she definitely is like the female version of Stephen King, but Stephen King actually just reads and writes almost exclusively, whereas Jessica is jet setting and solving murders constantly. So she's busy. She is a world traveler. That is something I love about the show. I love Cabot Cove, where she lives, but it's also super fun. She goes to all of these different places all over the world, and I think the show in general does a really good job of capturing the essence. Like, there's episodes in New York, there's episodes in tropical places, there's episodes overseas, and it really just gives you that over the top, like, this is like we're in the country now, or and there are there are times where it definitely goes to like stereotypes and poor taste because, like, let's be real, we're in the 80s and the 90s, and I'd say in general, the show is not very cancelable, but it has its moments where it's like, let's give it a go. Um,
Hmm.
but I do think that the setting is done really well. I love how in the opening of many scenes, there's just panning to like where it's taking place and it's putting you in that mood. And sometimes there are places that are just like so where you're like, yes, like I'm really excited to be here. I think that's really fun. Um, so you didn't really see a ton of Cabot Cove yet, because we're just talking about two episodes. So you watched 4 episodes?
I watched 4 episodes in one
Amazing.
day. Um, so I, yeah, barely saw any of Cabot Cove because the pilot episode takes place in New York City and
Right.
upstate New York, question mark.
Not sure, but yeah,
Yeah.
sounds right.
And then there's an episode on the bus, and then there's an episode entirely in her bedroom and one other house. So no, I
Yeah.
did not see any of Cabot Cove.
And there's not a ton of episodes in Cabot Cove. I think in part because already, as we've discussed, someone gets murdered every time. Every time they're
Yeah.
in Cabot Cove, someone gets murdered, which is why they, I don't know if they don't call it, but like fandom and now just like talking about the show, Cabot Cove is the murder capital of Maine because the murder rate established just through the show is like through the roof in terms of
Yeah.
how many murders. Like this would be like like an extremely dangerous place to be, which is really funny. Um, you saw a little bit of Jessica's house. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of her house. I think it's so cute and cozy. This show, for me and for many people, just gives them the feeling of like watching with their mom when they were younger or watching with their grandma. And for me, I'd never watched it with either of them, but it definitely gives me the grandma vibe, reminds me of my grandma's house growing up. And then also when I used to work in nursing homes, this was a show that people would watch a lot. And it just like gives
Oh.
me that cozy, like they would watch this, they would watch Golden Girls, and just like those
Yeah.
shows would be on a lot, and they're just both such cozy shows, and I just love it. And the other thing that this show does that I think is a bit unexpected is how star-studded the guest list is. Um, it is wild. Sometimes it's hard to catch because they're so young and compared to like how we
Hmm.
know these actors and actresses. There at one episode where there's like a baby Joaquin Phoenix, such a baby that he's listed as Leaf Phoenix, which he used to go by when he was little
Oh.
because his siblings had also chosen more earthy, creative
Ah.
names. But he is like an actual child.
Okay.
Jessica helps him fix his bike before she
Oh.
solves the murder. But almost every episode has someone that I recognize, which for this time period is like pretty shocking. But a small sampling. We've got an episode that has George Clooney, Courtney Cox, Tom Selleck, Billy Zane. Like they're just like the list goes on and on and on. And people who are more familiar with TV and movies in that time period, like there's just like crazy amount. The budget for the show must have been incredible with like how well it's shot, how rich the settings are. Like there's a lot of action, there's a lot of like scenes driving in cars. Like they don't definitely do a lot of like special effects budget. Let's be clear on
No
that. But
blood.
the
No blood.
settings is like so well done. And then the guest stars, I'm like, they're just like everybody. Everybody's in there.
So that makes me feel like this is the Law and Order SVU of the 80s and 90s because there
Mhm.
is not anyone in Hollywood who has not been in an episode of SVU many times before they became famous when they were
Right.
younger or like
Yeah.
before they made it big. And I feel like it's got those vibes.
Definitely, because it was a lot of like, oh, this was one of their first. Like we know them now, whereas people watching the show then wouldn't have necessarily recognized like, oh, that's Courtney
Right.
Cox. They would have just been like, that's a random woman, another one of Jessica's nieces,
Uh,
But yes, there are so much where it's like a rite of passage to make it in Hollywood. You have to guest
yeah.
star on Murder She Wrote, but it is really fun, like seeing all the people now and their little 80s and 90s get-ups. It's really cute. So you watched the pilot. The title of the pilot was The Murder of Sherlock Holmes. It premiered on CBS on September 30th, 1984, and it was a 2-hour long episode. And it was elaborate. This was not a chill, like, low-budget pilot. Google classifies Murder, She Wrote as a drama. False. Google almost never gets this right. I mean, we've already said cozy.
What do we classify things as?
Cozy murder mystery / procedural. I mean, in terms of, like, I don't know how many categories Google has, but, like, drama? It's not a drama.
Yeah. No.
Just no.
It's too silly for that.
Way too silly for that. It's rated 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and 90% of Google users liked this show. It's currently streaming on Peacock and Amazon Prime. We've already talked a lot about it, but I'll just give a brief synopsis of the premise if someone's made it this far and they're like, what is this show even about? Murder, She Wrote follows mystery writer and amateur sleuth Jessica Fletcher as she travels the world and uses her wit, charm, and a keen eye for detail to assist her family and friends who are often caught up in in a very upbeat murder mystery. Isn't that the truth? So, when we're first introduced to Jessica Fletcher, I'll give you some background too, because this is our first Murder, She Wrote episode. You are a newbie. I am getting the vibe that, like, you are not in the same camp as me, of, like, you are now obsessed with the show and we'll be watching it. So I'll put some details together for you. Because we will be talking about it again, whether you like it or not. So sorry. So Jessica is widowed. She was previously happily married to a man named Frank. We hear about him frequently, mostly just that her husband's name was Frank and they seemed to have a good time. And he's no longer here. And that's about that. They never had any children. They have an absurd amount of nieces, nephews, relatives. They're everywhere. And she also has, like, the biggest network of friends of anyone I could ever imagine. Everyone is, like, a very dear friend. That's what she always calls them. My dear friend. Cute. She travels the world frequently, but she does not drive. Ever. I don't think she has a license. In part, I think this was just a really cheeky plot device so that they could have her being, like, passenger princess and getting, like, driven around everywhere. And it gives the opportunity to, like, not necessarily info dump, because I think the show is better than that, but to have these conversations where they're like, okay, let's slow down the action and be like, you're going from A to B and she's going to talk to the cop or talk to the friend, and they're going to kind of, like, unpack a little bit of what's going on. Also, it just, like, helps make these, like, cute little montages of her walking and biking around town, which I love. Other things we know about Jessica. She does not miss a beat, okay? She picks up on everything. Like, you blinked weird once, and, like, now she knows that you're the murderer, okay? She is a tremendous busybody. We've established that. She's a magnet for murder. Someone's getting killed around her all the time, and she's just rolling with it. It does not bother her that much at all. She's more just, like, activated. She's like, okay, this is my time to shine. Like, this is why I'm here on Earth.
Kind of made me look forward to it. It's a little bit fun.
She's rarely upset, if at all. And not only is she, like, unfazed and a magnet for murder, but she also solves every single murder that comes across her desk. We've established that. What we have not established is that in addition to solving the murder, she is able to get a confession out of the killer every time. Like, the guys from Mindhunter have nothing on her. She is the confession
that excellent
queen.
Show.
Yeah. They're like a joke compared to Jessica Fletcher. She is just like, they're like, everyone starts out being like, I didn't do it. And then she's like, well, this and this and this. And then how about this? And then they're like, so here's how it went.
Not only a confession, but she can, like, be alone with the murderer and they'll confess, and she's in no danger of being harmed.
Oh, she's in danger all the time, Sarah. You just don't know yet. But there's always police hiding outside the doorway ready to back her up. No, people pull guns on her all the time in this show. It is both, like, absurd and, like, of course They don't like, she never gets harmed, but she is threatened so many times. And there's so many scenes where the police will come in just in time because obviously it's a setup. She knew she's going to get them to confess, etc. And then, the police will come in and she'll be like, oh. It's like, okay. I don't know. I find it charming. All right. We've talked about some of the cast of characters. We've got Amos Tupper, the local sheriff in Cabot Cove, good friend of Jessica's, of course. He's like a bit of a I was gonna say doofus. He's just like comes across as like not that bright and like is always looking for the obvious, and that's the counterpart to Jessica, like uh really trying to see things a different way and always trying to disprove. And so she'll tell him his logic and he's like, okay, I believe that, and then he'll come to his conclusion based on what she said, and she's like, oh no, but you're wrong about that, and he's like, well, you just said this is like their dynamic all the time. And then I don't think you met Seth Hazlitt, the doctor, the curmudgeon doctor.
No, I did not meet a
I don't think so.
curmudgeon doctor.
I'm trying to think of like what episodes. Yeah, no, you did. You did.
There was he was not curmudgeon in that episode.
Okay, sure. Yeah, he was probably fine. He's not like crazy unpleasant. He's just, he's a curmudgeon.
I met a doctor. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, you met him in the second episode that we're going to be talking about. He's one of the few who's there through like the whole series and is her bestie for whatever reason. That doesn't really make sense, but they're pretty cute. And then you also met in the second episode we watched Grady. Well, and in the pilot, Grady Fletcher is in it. What are your thoughts on Grady?
Oh, he's just adorable. Okay. His love of his aunt is just so
cute. I think he's cute too. Like, people really don't like Grady. There's a lot of Grady hate in the Murder, She Wrote sphere. I know. A lot of people love him and think he's cute. People find him annoying. And I guess if you watch more of the episodes, there is a very common theme of him just like falling in love every 5 seconds and just kind of like being like a little girl crazy. And I don't know, he's just like kind of dorky.
Murder is allowed to happen every episode for convenience of the plot, but this cutie can't fall in love more than once. Come on, people.
I totally disagree with the haters on Grady. Let's finally get into the episodes that we're going to talk about, because I have selected 2 episodes. The theme I picked for these episodes originally, I was trying to pick episodes that were good standalones. So I picked a few pairings of episodes. This one originally was like, it's a dark and stormy night. That was my original vision for this pairing of episodes, which works. But then I named it like our Spring-O-Ween because it rains in the spring and it's Spring-O-Ween now. So here we go.
It's perfect. I love it.
Thank you so much. The first episode we're going to chat about is Murder Takes the Bus. Great title.
Excellent episode title.
So good. It was the season 1, episode 20. Originally aired on March 17th, 1985. So we are going back in time. This may be the oldest thing we've talked about so far.
I think so. Yeah.
Gotta be, right?
Yep.
This episode is generally regarded by like a lot of people as the best episode of Murder, She Wrote. So, I don't like this one, Sarah. You're wrong. It is the highest rated episode on IMDb. It's rated 8.6 out of 10. And here's a synopsis. Jessica and a slew of passengers are forced to take refuge from a storm at a remote diner when one of the passengers is found stabbed in his seat on a bus to Boston. So good.
No blood in the stabbing, by the way.
No, never.
Which they do kind of talk about. Kind of.
It's true. It is part of how she solves it, but it's not important because that's yucky, Sarah.
Yeah.
But it's yucky. This is cozy. So we do have a lot of fun guest stars in this episode. We've got Scream Queen Linda Blair. She's best known for playing the little girl in The Exorcist. We've got Michael Constantine, who I know from My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Great movie. Love it. And then one of my faves, Rue McClanahan, who played Blanche on Golden Girls. Another great
I
show.
was so excited when I saw her. She's so
Yeah.
good in this episode.
Yes, she's really good. And I think this was before Golden Girls, so it holds up to your theory of like this is Murder She Wrote is the stepping stone to
Yeah.
to
Uh-huh.
wild success in Hollywood. Thoughts about this episode. I think that there's something cozy, not about murder, okay? About bus travel and train travel. Like this is a bus episode, and there's something about being on a bus. I just think it's cozy. I think it's fun. I think it's nostalgic.
Oh, so I feel like I just like took too many like Chinatown buses from
Mm,
Boston to New York and DC for bus travel to feel cozy to me.
fair enough. But we also
Yeah.
did like school field trips on the bus. Like I just have like a lot of
Okay.
fun
All
bus
right.
memories. But maybe you just went too far in the other
I
direction.
did. I did.
The atmosphere in this episode, the storminess, it's
Yes.
stormy throughout. Maybe it's overdone. I don't care. I love it. I think it just adds to the atmosphere. I love it. Love it. Love it. There's also music playing while the bus is driving through the rain, and they base this music off of the music in Psycho, where
Oh.
Janet Leigh is her name. Janet Leigh is driving and, having all of these flashbacks and stressed out thoughts. And it's like playing similar music to that. So it's setting that vibe. And I think the music is
Oh.
great in this episode. And then also when they get to the diner and they're seeking refuge there, it's called the Cozy Corner Kitchen. It has Ralph the owner. He's got apple pie. He's got coffee. He's got red vinyl seats. He's got arcade games, neon signs. I mean,
It's
I love it.
it's cozy. I love it. I
So
love the
cozy.
cozy corner kitchen.
Oh, and I really liked Ralph. He was a good time.
He was.
Yeah, and how did you feel about the twist? Because this was your first, well, I mean, I think the pacing of the pilot, the 2-hour pilot, was obviously a bit more spread out, and it wasn't like super twisty. They all have a little bit of that like whodunit element where they're
Mm-hmm.
putting in red herrings, they're trying to mislead you. This one, I think why this episode is thought of as like one of the better episodes is because it does like a double twist kind of,
It does.
which I thought was pretty effective. I did not see that coming.
It was a good twist. I'm not buying that the bus driver thought all that through all that way.
No,
No.
no. In order to make these elaborate episodes where Jessica's putting all these pieces together, they do make it seem like they're just these so like sophisticated criminals. I thought the twist was really good as a plot and like a way to resolve the episode in a really interesting way, but it also was just kind of weird and that it like didn't matter. It's like he thought he didn't kill him, but then he did kill him, and so like he
Well, here
stabbed him, but then didn't kill him.
let's tell our audience. So the man on the bus is found stabbed with a screwdriver,
Right.
and so they're trying to find and Jessica finds out that the bus driver stabbed him. The bus driver's got history with this guy. But then she's like, but you didn't really kill him. He was actually killed before that. And I know because there wasn't that much blood. And I was like, but you never have blood. So how did you tell, Jessica? There's no blood in this world.
Magic.
And he was actually strangled beforehand. But then it turns out the bus driver also strangled him beforehand, but then stabbed him for the purpose of getting to this confession about the screwdriver in order to
Right.
clear his name.
It's a little convoluted when you
The
when you put
twist
it
is
all.
good. The
It is.
planning to get there, I'm not buying it from that character.
No, he certainly, especially because they end the episode kind of feeling bad for him because he does have a very empathetic motive for
Yeah.
murder,
Hmm.
which was that the person that he murdered had accidentally, it sounded like maybe like a manslaughter, had kind of killed his daughter, I think it was, and then was like very
Yeah.
callously just like she shouldn't have ran out in the road. Like this guy, like
Yeah.
was awful.
This show does not uh leave you in a moral gray area with how you're
No.
supposed to feel about the character. So like we were obviously supposed to think that the guy that died was a bad guy, and we were supposed to feel okay about that in this situation.
I did, yes, and I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And so they end the episode, you kind of, you like feel bad for this man. You're like, oh, it was guilty. And you're like, oh, I didn't really want it to be him. Like, he liked that he was kind of getting off the hook where he had this moment where he saw red and did something regrettable, but oh, he didn't really kill him. So we're all like, oh,
Yeah.
phew, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. But then it ends up that, oh, he did do it. And then, yeah, had the foresight to correct his mistake. But then Jessica ends by being like, he'll probably get off on insanity. And I'm like, you just laid out how he thought to not, you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
like post meditated. That's not a term, but
Like, also, Jessica, where's your law degree? Like, where you literally
right.
just look at the where, stay in your lane, lady. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
no,
You
she
do
doesn't have
whatever
a
you
lane.
want.
No, she doesn't have a lane. She knows everything, so have some respect. Anywho.
Oh my God. I know we're about to talk about the next episode,
Yeah.
but that just like the she knows everything when she's literally laying in bed and she pulls out I was referencing my weapons guide.
Yes. And yes, you are not as well versed in the Murder She Wrote sphere, and I am not an expert compared to many super fans. But she researches the heck out of her books, so she is always looking up
Oh.
poisons, ways of like, so that her books are
Mm.
then believable and accurate in terms of like, oh, this reaction would happen to this poison, or there's a scene where she is doing a trajectory of like, how could I describe that this person gets shot and killed, but this person gets just grazed by the bullet. So she plays out all these things so that her writing is
Oh.
accurate, which is why she has so much knowledge about crime and then is able to solve them by all of this like incredible amount of detail that like a coroner, a detective, and lawyer wouldn't know separately, but she knows all
Mm.
together.
You know what else this would help someone with? Um, Murdering a bunch of people and getting away with it.
1,000%. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I was thinking as I was saying that, I was like, she really, her character is made to be this super genius who knows everything, can retain everything. It's very savant-like, and
Yeah.
it just goes along with this, like sociopathic genius type.
Yeah.
We're just saying.
You like Murder She Wrote for the cozy aspect. I love it for the serial killer theory that I've just learned.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, you're
in.
like, I didn't know about this show at first, and now I am like in.
I want to watch every episode through that lens.
Right? No, it does change things. Right. Any
Yeah.
other thoughts on this episode, especially now knowing that it is supposedly one of the best, according to many?
The vibe was the best part.
Yeah.
The rain, the everybody getting stuck in the cafe. The vibe was just what I'm looking for in a murder mystery show.
Agreed. And I also think that we talked about how sometimes the characters are really good and sometimes the characters are kind of meh. This one, the whole cast of characters, I like cared about every single one of them. They all had their distinct personalities and dynamics, and I think that they were like interesting. I
Yeah.
really wanted to know more about them, and enough was revealed about most of them to like kind of keep you interested despite the show only being shot on a bus or in a diner.
Yeah.
Two places. Very
Loved it.
impressive. All right, the second episode we're going to talk about is called Crossed Up. It is season 3, episode 13. So we're fast forwarding a little bit. It originally aired on February 1st, 1987, and it is rated an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. Now I will read you the synopsis. Sorry, I'm just like laughing because you already were like, of course the phone wires got crossed and she was listening. In Cabot Cove. Okay. The phone wires get crossed during a storm, and Jessica can't convince anyone that what she heard was really a murder plot. All right. So we already talked about how this was your first real Grady Fletcher episode. He's in the pilot. I keep forgetting that you
Yeah.
watched the pilot and you actually did that, but
But this
he's
one
really
is, yeah.
gradying it up in this
Yeah.
one. The tuna subplot, so weird and like endearing and disgusting all at the same time.
It was a lot. It was a lot of tuna. I'm getting Aowen vibes from
Oh my
this.
gosh,
And like the
yes, with the
Aowen
stew.
stew. Yeah. Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
reference.
yeah, of course, of course. No, I appreciate you for that. I wrote tuna surprise, tuna pot pie. Like what even are these things? They're so scary.
They're so
Um,
scary.
I'm so scared of the tuna in this episode. And I like
Oh.
eat tuna. I'm not super offended by it. What I am offended by, this is not relevant to anyone but me. Jessica Fletcher is on bed rest for back pain. For those of you who do not know, I'm a physical therapist. That is the worst thing you can do for acute back pain. It is also made clear. This is doctor prescribed bed rest, I should be clear. That she has been in bed for a week straight. And I will give this episode credit in saying that this was like very commonly prescribed as a treatment for back pain. So much
Oh.
so that that generation of adult, because I worked with geriatrics quite often, as you know, they still are like, I hurt my back, I have to rest it. That is the only option.
Oh.
They will not hear otherwise, many, many people. So trying to convince them to just get up and walk or, God forbid, exercise is an uphill battle.
Ah.
So
Okay.
was I triggered by this? Yes, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
Uh, what I did appreciate was Doc Hazlitt. He gave her a med alert to use for safety in case she needed anything. A little push
Which
button.
I loved that, and I loved that she like had a back injury because they never shy away from her age. And
No.
I feel like that's genuine. Like people of that age very often get a med alert necklace and they're often not really happy about it.
Right.
Understandably, it's
Hmm.
really signifies a lot about age, but I loved that little bit of realism
It was a
in the
good detail.
scope.
I do feel like
Yeah.
they accurately portray many dynamics, both like of the time. Like I think it's progressive in that way. Jessica faces sexism all the time in the show, and they don't shy away from that, and they don't always correct it.
Mm.
But it is very, very clearly presented as sexism and just like a reality that
Mm-hmm.
women face, especially successful, articulate, intelligent women like Jessica, which brings me to my next point. The audacity of Doc Hazlitt, Grady Fletcher, and Amos Tupper, our big three in terms of recurring characters we have on the show, to gaslight Jessica and saying that she has cabin fever and they can't believe that she actually did hear a murder plot on the phone.
She is the most intelligent person in any room that she walks into.
Ever. Bar none.
She is acting totally normal,
Completely.
and they're like, nah.
Like, oh, she get nah. Nah. Which you did say, like, what are the chances, right? What are the
It's
chances
true.
that the phone lines are crossed and that she happens to hear it? But they should have at least, like, she was acting, I would say, like, a little agitated because they weren't believing her. Um,
Yeah.
but
It's not like
that's
they're
it.
not believing the 263 other murders that she's somehow directly connected to.
Right. Right. We're on season 3. Like,
Yeah.
we know what she's up to. We know what she's capable
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
And so for them to doubt her throughout the episode is like shocking to me.
Hmm.
I cannot believe it. But in better news, in the show we do have another diner. I love a diner. Okay.
Same.
I love a diner. So this time it's Mona's diner. I don't remember this diner being in any other episode. This is like a funny thing they do with the Cabot Cove episodes. Is there's like always a new restaurant. It's just like it's such a vibrant town of 3,000 people. There's
Love
just
that
so
for
much to do,
them.
so much to see, so many ways to get murdered. I also I love that we're in Jessica's bedroom. Like this is just not something that happens a lot in the show. She has like a cozy fireplace. She's just like cuddled up
Yeah.
in bed with her book. She's got like even just like the rainy scenes where her like windows are coming open. I'm just like it's so raining and cozy.
It's the four-post bed with the curtains around it
Yes,
too.
yes. It's so good.
Yeah.
Um, and I do think this episode is also funny and that even in bed she still can't stay out of it, right? She's
No.
like, I have to get involved. And so something that since we both appreciate Grady, I really like in this episode that she's like sending him out to do her reconnaissance mission. And I just think like watching him do it, it's just like really like I find him like goofy and endearing, whereas other
Yeah.
people find him like inept and annoying. I don't know.
They're wrong.
I think their dynamic is really cute in this episode. And then the end of this episode, I think, is kind of scary. It's a little bit of a scary scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When the killer comes for Jessica, right? So, as you said, Jessica does not get into as much trouble as she should. Her life is not threatened enough for how many murderers she has had convicted and actively, accused them and gotten their confession in person without a bulletproof vest on. But the killer comes for Jessica, right? They know
Mhm.
she's got a diary. She's got a diary that has basically, I don't know. I don't even remember. It's not important. Do you remember?
No.
Something about the diary is going to reveal
Yeah.
that the killer is the killer, something about the inheritance, or it's all kind of like coming down.
Yeah.
Like we've already arrested one guy who was in on it, but now we find out, oh, there's a second person who was in on the murder of this
Twist.
wealthy man. The twist on the twist, okay? The first twist was that the man has asthma, and that's why Jessica didn't recognize his voice. Okay, we
Asthma
need to talk about that.
agitated by a cat only. It's just a cat allergy. He has a
Okay,
cat allergy.
he has a cat allergy, and it is revealed because he's like holding like the family cat on the news, and just why would you hold the cat if you have a cat allergy? Like, what's going
And
on?
like they're like trying to like establish that he doesn't even like the cat. Like it's I don't gorgeous cat though with the
It's
two different color
beautiful.
eyes.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird. I don't get it, but I also love it. I
Yeah.
love that happened and that she kept being like throughout the episode like, "No, that's not the right voice. It was raspy. It was raspy." It just keeps saying that and all of a sudden the little asthmatic cat man, she's like, "That's it." I love it. It's so weird. All right. So the killer comes for Jessica. She cuts the phone line, breaks the glass, unlocks the door, and is wearing this like very I know what you did last summer rain suit, hat, full on raincoat. The windows are flapping. It's not a creatively creepy scene, but I think it's like it's a little tense. Okay.
Very
And then
dramatic.
Jessica is saved because she pushed her life alert button. Go life alert. And the police descend just in time. Yeah, because the woman hears the siren, she goes running, and then they bust her. It's great. It's a satisfying ending on this one.
It's really like leaning into again her being a senior aged woman with her
Mhm.
life alert button, which like we have not talked about yet. How amazing it is that someone her age is leading a major television show. Like that's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
it is
huge.
awesome. It is awesome. And I'm going to circle back to my rant about bed rest in this final scene where she can barely move. And I actually find that believable because the amount of stiffness and
Oh
weakness
yeah.
you would have after laying in bed for a week.
Even
Yeah.
without a back injury.
Yes, you would be messed up. For anyone who's been like
Yes.
sick and like laid up for a few days, and then you try to like get up from your bed to walk to the bathroom, and you're like, "Why am I 100 years
Mhm.
old?" All right, Sarah. Well, I appreciate you watching this show. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
Um,
Thank you for introducing me to this cozy, adorable show.
yeah, we will be talking about it again. We'll have these little like curated 2 episode kind of um Murder She Wrote discussions throughout, but this was really fun talking about it for the first time because obviously I love it. I think that that comes across. It's silly, it doesn't make much sense, but you just like I love her. I love the town. It just hits a lot of the
Hmm.
cozy elements for me and it's become such a comfort watch. Okay, so I don't know that what I have planned next is a game per se. But I have a series of pictures of Jessica Fletcher outfits. And
Love it.
we are going to talk about if you would wear it and anything else you want to share
Great.
about them because as we discussed, her fashion is so iconic in this show and it really goes places, right? Like
Yeah.
she's not just a one trick pony with her looks.
No.
She takes some risks. She does some
Hmm.
things. A lot of it is like, oh, I feel like this is an Angela Lansbury outfit. And then there's like some clear like Jessica Fletcher looks, but yeah, she's got range, and I am here for pretty much all of it. Spoiler alert, yes, I would wear all of them, I think. Okay. But if you're watching video, you can play along with us. We will put up the outfits so that you can see what the heck we're talking about. So the first 2 are a pretty similar look, and I would say this is relatively classic for like casual Jessica Fletcher. We've got the blue jeans with usually a leather, like a brown leather belt,
Hmm.
button up shirt, and then a really fun cardigan. One of them is like patchworky with reds and blues and some checkered parts. And then the other one has like geese on it or something adorable. I love them. I would put them on right now and
I
go
want the geese sweater
somewhere.
immediately. I want
Right?
I want it in my closet.
I want to like recreate and wear both of these. And maybe for the next
Yeah.
Murder She Wrote episode, we will pick a Jessica Fletcher outfit to like try to
Let's do
really
it.
recreate like very close. I also like on the one on the left with the reddish sweater that she's kind of doing like almost a Canadian tuxedo vibe, but it's working, you know?
It is. It
It's
is.
totally
It's the blue
working.
on blue though. Yeah. No, I like it.
Okay, so you agree
Geese.
you'd wear both of those.
Absolutely. Yes.
Then we move on to the next one, which is Jessica loving a scarf. Okay. She
Yeah.
is often wearing a scarf and not just wearing a scarf, but like wearing a scarf.
Styling.
On the left with the blue scarf, this look is fire. Could I pull it off? No. Could I pull off the one on the right? No. Do I love both of them? Yes. Give me your thoughts.
I also love them. These are so like the sweaters we just discussed are grandma in a way I would wear.
Yes.
These are grandma in a way that I will wear someday, but
Fair
not
enough.
now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I don't think that I will be this cool of a grandma. I could see you being this cool of a grandma. I
Well,
think I
it's
will
a
be the
big
grandma.
compliment.
I will be the grandma who's wearing like a crew neck with a built-in turtleneck and like some sort of decal or embroidery. You know what I'm talking about?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, I sure do.
And by when I'm a grandma, I mean, yes, I have that in my closet.
Now,
Okay, I have to tell you.
today.
Wait, go ahead.
Oh
Oh, you
no,
mean now?
no,
Oh, you
yeah,
said now today.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you an embarrassing story. I bought a sweater as a Halloween costume. So I was gonna dress up as a grandma. And it had a dog and some sort of autumnal scene printed on the chest, and it had a built-in turtleneck. So it was like a beige crew neck, and then it had like some sort of like brown checkered, like the built-in turtleneck part. I wore it for Halloween, and I was like, this is gonna be funny. I'm gonna wear it to my family Thanksgiving, and like people are just gonna like have things to say and think it's really funny. Nobody said a word.
They thought it was just normal. It was just in your
They were
closet.
like, here's Ashley's,
Yeah. I
here's
love
her
that.
outfit. I mean, you didn't react, so you're just like, yeah. They're like, oh yeah, that's you. I mean, I
I
guess
mean,
I take risks. I make some choices. So they're like, oh, she's just weird. But my family's just like, well, this is normal for Ashley. I'm weird all the time. All right, let's move on to the next set of Jessica Fletcher looks, which I don't know. This is like a pink on pink. I love the matching button down and jacket on the left.
that
Something about like that
is
they're exact match.
cohesive.
I really like the color. And then on the right, she has like pearl necklace, white shirt, and then like a pink sort of, I think it's probably like a skirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This wider shot of the outfit on the right also has another woman in it, and she is wearing like similar shades of pink. And that's something that I also really appreciate about the show is like the detail that they, like I said, put into the scenes, but also the costume. So it makes this like these really pleasing visuals. That's something I really love.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the
Mm-hmm.
color story is really nice. The things that you don't necessarily notice about TV when it's done well. But when it's done poorly, then you're like, why does this suck? It's things like that that you just
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
don't think about the composition of the shot, the lighting, how all of the looks are going together, all of that stuff, and the show nails it. Would I wear either of these? No, I couldn't. I couldn't wear a. I couldn't. I couldn't. But I do like them.
I own the jacket on the right. I own the pink jacket, basically. I have it in my
Yeah, I was
closet.
just saying I could see you in the on the left, the like same color. That seems like a bit of like almost a fashion choice, and I've never
I think it's
thought of you as
dated. I
someone
think it's
who's
a
like
dated
doing
look.
fashion. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
But yeah, I could see
But
you
the
wearing the outfit on the
right.
right for sure.
Yeah, I would love to have a matching skirt or set of pants for my pink jacket.
All right, well, go out and buy them. Maybe that will be your look, your chosen look for
Love
our
it.
next episode.
I've
And then
I've
the
always wanted an all pink suit.
oh
That's a
gosh, I'm
true. It's a
excited.
true
I'm
thing.
excited. And you're like a corporate gal, so you need this.
Mm.
You need it.
I need something.
Oh, that's true. Our last set of Jessica looks I picked because of this episode, right? This is our dark and stormy night,
Yeah.
Spring-O-Ween. So I was like, rainy day Jess, here we go. Here we go. On the left, I want to tell you the context. She is fishing. Okay. Incredible. I think also
Yeah.
if not in this episode, in another one, she's like fishing on a boat, like out in the ocean. She's just cool.
Hmm.
I love the cap. I love the classic yellow raincoat. She also often does a layered look with the button down coming out of the
Yes.
sweater, which I love.
Yes.
I would
Hmm.
wear both of these outfits for sure.
So what I wanted to wear for today's episode was the sweater with the collared shirt, but it's
Yeah.
May in Houston and it's just too
Oh,
hot to
you
do
can't. We
that.
can't
But
be
like I
layering.
wanted it. So like I love
Yeah,
that look and
I
it's
do too.
the classic yellow rain jacket, absolutely.
So
The
good.
rain version of a Canadian tuxedo, I
I
don't
love
know.
it. I love it. I love it. What are you talking about? With the galoshes and the rain jacket. I don't know why, but I feel like she can pull off the Canadian tuxedo.
I think she can.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's just her. It's something where I would buy that and then put it on myself and have like immediate regret.
She looks
Ah,
great though.
she really does. She really does. Well, thanks for playing along with that. It's always fun talking about
I
Jessica fashion.
feel like, well, first of all, I did not know we were playing that game. When at the beginning of the episode, I started with her being a fitness and
Yeah,
fashion icon. So glad
it's
we're on the
true.
same page there.
It's
And
true.
to further support my soul connection to Jessica Fletcher and Angela
Yeah.
Lansbury, we share a birthday.
Yes, I did know that. I did know that, and
Yeah.
I forgot to put that in. But yeah, she is also an October baby. Okay, well, I'm very excited to talk about Murder, She Wrote probably again. I would say like next year will be the next time that we're able to get around to Murder, She Wrote, but it could be like a fun annual thing because I have more to say about
Yes.
Angela, more to say about her being a fitness icon. I like recently learned that she has like a fitness diet book that is extremely wholesome and
Oh, I
hilarious.
love that.
Yes, aside from it being a diet book, because like F that, but for a diet
Yeah, but
book,
if it's a
it's pretty
wholesome
good.
diet book,
It's pretty
okay,
wholesome.
cool.
I just think you can never talk about like diet without it kind of grossing me out.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, it's as good as it can get. Let me put it that way.
Okay,
And it
all
is
right.
just really funny. So we will maybe next time we'll talk about that. Um, but yeah, I love this show. That's it. That's all I have to say.
Well, thanks for introducing me to it and to my soulmate, Angela Lansbury. Ashley, what are we talking about next week?
Sarah, next week we will be talking about one of our absolute favorite movies from our teenage years. Maybe still today. I don't know. TBD. It is Joyride. And I'm also going to be telling you all about Highway 666. Yes, that is a real place, or at least it was. Okay, see you there.
Bye.
Also, no paranormal story this week because we talked too long about Murder, She Wrote. But we'll be back with that next week. Thanks for listening to another episode of Haunted Homebodies. Make sure you like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, when in doubt, just stay home.